Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Raheem Rivers, aka Raheem the Revolutionary, and today we're going to talk about the Riverside Crescendo membership drive. Membership applications are $27 a piece, and our foundational scripture is Proverbs 27:17, which is as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Which is important. It's necessary for us to come together and build, which is exactly what we're doing. Um, the membership is more about us coming together than it is about the money itself, which is why memberships are only $27 a piece, in order to keep a low barrier of entry. And those are lifetime memberships for the first 7 million who sign up. After that, after we reach our 7 million, then it's going to be $100 a year, or 100 Riverside notes, because we might not be using US dollars. Hopefully we won't be. By that time we'll be more connected internationally, and working with each other internally. All right, so we putting the people over profits, from the beginning. All right, another requirement for memberships is revolutionaries only, being that buying land and building your own community is a revolutionary idea in and of itself, and doing it for God only makes it that much more excellent. So yeah, we're not taking sellouts, we're not taking COINTEL pros, we're not taking any of that crap. Like, if you're not really about the revolution, you're not willing to put the work in, you're not really trying to create the change we need in this world, then you're not one of us, you dig, and we don't need you. Um, Also, on the Riverside, our race is human, as in we fight for humanity, regardless of what their complexion is, regardless of what language they speak, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, any of that. We fight for humans, bro. And if you want to play with crayons, or you want to try and judge people and tell people how they should be living their life like you walked in their shoes or whatever, then you're also not welcome here. And if you're a child abuser or a woman abuser of any type, you're not welcome here, being that what we're building is primarily for the youth, and for women. And a lot of the abuse they have been suffering is from pieces of shit like y'all. So y'all is not welcome on the Riverside either. And human traffickers. Yeah, y'all know. Um, in addition to that, like, those are the membership requirements. So for people to join the community, the Riverside Revolution, that's what it is. In addition to that, we're gonna have Velvet and Suede. Velvet and Suede are basically like the different avenues in which we're gonna be working on building up the community as we're establishing our own. The Velvet is for like Velvet Touch Communications. I got the Velvet and that from the Velvet Glove for the Iron Fist. We the people ruling legitimately, like having our paperwork in order and all of that. And that's what Velvet Touch Communications is about. Is about helping all our brothers and sisters in the street go legitimate, as well as teaching those incarcerated and so forth, for those still in school, how to make it successfully without falling into all the traps and so forth that's out here. In addition to that, Velvet Touch Communications is going to be our own tech company, because we need it, like where we can manufacture electronics and so forth for ourselves. Our own online platform. So, like, basically somewhere where we could promote education and art and ideas and so forth without all the community guidelines of our oppressors and so forth telling us what he can and can't do. You know what I mean? And Velvet Touch Communications is going to help us start our own telecommunications company, as in cell phones and data and networks and all of that. That's owned by us and protected by us, and we're the benefactors of it. The Suede and Velvet and Suede is Suede Boots Boulevard, which is going to kind of start out as a food truck with supplies, that we go to the hood and like high schools, colleges, and just throw like parties for them, and let them know that we love them and that we here for them. The idea of Suede Boots Boulevard comes from the prodigal son. And with the prodigal son, when he returned, is the first time, the only time in the Bible that God's depicted as running, is to meet his son who's returning. And the first thing he does, he gives him the sandal after he embraces him. He gives him sandals, which are peace, which is what you get when you walk with God. And then he gives him a robe, which represents the priesthood, which is like basically him welcoming him into the priesthood. If you walk with God, you are a member of the priesthood. And then he gives him a signet ring. In those days, they were worn by rulers, which represents the government. So it's the royal priesthood. So he basically just brought the prodigal son into the kingdom. Sway Blues Boulevard is about doing that for the youth. Giving them good food and like teaching them the truth, as well as providing them with art and educational resources and so forth, and helping like the teachers in the community, the homeschoolers, the community schoolers, the tutors, etc. Like everybody in the community that's trying to do their purpose and serve God. That's who we helping. You know what I mean? And then beyond that, you have the Kingdom Business Boot Camp, which is also going to be attached to Slave Booth Boulevard, which is primarily us training the youth for the war that's out here. Because a lot of people pretend like everything's all hunky-dory or whatever, you know what I mean? They shelter the youth from reality, and what that does is it creates a lot of trauma and so forth that the youth go through when they come into contact with the real world. And rather than that, we're going to teach them how to defend themselves and how to fight back against the evils out here, so they'll be well equipped when the time comes and they need to stand for God, to stand for truth, to stand for the people, you know what I mean, to stand up, period. And so that's what Sway Booth Boulevard is about. In addition to all of this, and what all of this is primarily for, is the Riverside Rendezvous. And the Riverside Rendezvous are us taking our online alchemy and turning it into offline action, where we come together in communities and so forth, and have events and discuss things like investment strategies and so forth, to where we can start buying and developing our own housing projects, our own communities, our own apartment complexes, etc. As a group, you know what I mean? It'll be a community investment, community controlled assets that allow all of us to benefit from them. That's what the rendezvous are for, until we build our headquarters, and our headquarters are going to be in Mexico. I haven't decided what part of Mexico. It's going to depend on what kind of deals we could get, like on land and working with the government and so forth. But that's where the HQ would be, and we will be doing monthly updates on the 27th of every month, called Riverside Revelations. All right. So everything beyond that is pretty much privileged information, so it's for members only, and something I would like to advise all the young cats out here doing movements and so forth. Always remember what the difference between public and private information is in regards to your organization. All right, this is Rakeem Rivers. I'm out.